Hey, this is Pixel Alien, and I'm going to show you how to use the overlays. Chances are you just bought the pack from Etsy. If you did, thank you very much. And a lot of you already know how to do this, but this is for people that are not quite sure how to use the overlays. Now, this works for Photoshop, and it also works for if you're doing After Effects or Premiere. You can just place the image right above your video, lower the opacity, and see it take effect. So in this case, I'm in Photoshop, and what I'm going to do is import some of the overlays and make it work to the image. So in this case, I'm going to use I'm just going to use, say, Lovely. Okay, so it's a pretty big overlay. So what I'm going to do is use the Move tool. Once I have the Move tool selected, I'm just going to grab this and drop it right on top of the image. Now when I do that, it actually adds a new layer above the image, and that's exactly what you want. So I'm going to make sure that it is positioned completely over the image. In this case, I might have to scale it right above it just to make sure it grabs everything, or that it covers everything. Okay, so we're almost done here. It's actually really easy. So I'm going to just double click this and name this overlay. And at this point, you see the opacity. You can either do a drop down or just click and hold depending on which Photoshop version you have. I'm just going to go ahead and just move the slider over, and I'm going to drop it to say I'm going to go 50%. And as you can see, it already gives it a nice cinematic, dreamy effect. You can click on the little icon and see how much of a difference that does make. So that's basically how you use the overlay over an image. You do the same thing for video if you want to do it for a video. And if you want to be extra, a little creative, or a little, what you can do is, this works for images. You can actually grab your eraser tool. Now I have all these kind of mixed up, but reordered. But grab your eraser tool and use the feathered brush, and then drop the opacity of the eraser to say like 36. And what you can do is delete some of the overlay on the face. And as you can see, that gives it a nice, cool effect where the face is somewhat in focus. Actually, I probably did it too much. Let me undo it. That's about right. Where the face is a little more in focus, but the rest has a nice little cinematic thing going on here. But there's a lot of things you can do. You can just focus on maybe the lips, bring out the lips a little more. That might have been too much. You want to be very careful with how much you do, because then it'll look kind of out of place. So now it has a combination between the real photo and the light effect. So that's how you kind of mess with the overlays. Basically, again, you just drop the overlay on top of the image and then play with the opacity. And if you want to get really fancy, you can play with the eraser tool and erase some of the elements to give it a nice, interesting image. All right, guys, thanks.